All right, folks, welcome back. Speaker Kevin McCarthy is demanding answers following President Trump's announcement that he expects to be arrested Tuesday. Here we go again, an outrageous abuse of power by a radical DA who lets violent criminals walk as he pursues political vengeance against President Trump. I'm directing relevant committees to immediately investigate if federal funds are being used to subvert our democracy by interfering in elections with politically motivated prosecutions, end quote. I want to welcome in Congressman and fellow Texan Pat Fallon, joining me now. He sits on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. Congressman, welcome. There have been some pretty high-profile Republicans who have come out against a clear abuse of power, clear political hit job here. But the condemnation isn't universal. In your mind, is there any excuse for any Republican to sit silently on this?
Chris, not only there's no excuse for any Republican, but any fair-minded American, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or independent. This is a sham, and this is a disgrace. This is a farce, and it's a fraud. And if you don't think that this isn't about President Trump. This is about silencing dissent. And if they can come for him, they're coming for you next. And that's really the way we need to look at this. You know, the justice is supposed to wear a blindfold, not a political jersey.
Right, and it makes you worry if they're going to politicize our legal system. What's next? The IRS, are they going to come after specifically people that are Republicans or conservatives? You know, they've come after traditional Catholics, school board members, and the list goes on and on. But when we go back to these rogue Democrats, are they really rogue? Because they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're backed by Soros. Alvin Bragg got $1 million. The whole process of these rogue DAs, there's at least 40, 50 of them throughout the country. It undermines our whole judicial system, which is obviously the goal of the radical left. What do you think Congress can do, if anything, to rein in these radical left district attorneys?
Well, Lydia, that was the nefarious plan from Soros. It's easier to influence a smaller election, and district attorneys have an incredible impact. And this is the thing about this. If this was a novel that I was pitching, I was writing a fictitious novel, and I was going to a publisher and saying, you know what, so the former president of the United States is going to be charged with a felony based on the testimony of a porn actress and a convicted felon. They would throw it out on its face. In the theory, the legal theory is thin, it's untested. I'm really in utter disbelief that this has occurred, but we can't let this happen because, you know what, evil triumphs when good people do nothing.
It's almost as plausible as a magical bat from 1,000 miles away flew in to a Wuhan wet market and then somebody ate some bat soup and then it infected the whole world. Yeah, it's about as plausible as that.
Yeah, actually, that's actually pretty prescient analysis there. By the way, Congressman, so you didn't answer Lydia's question about Congress doing anything about these rogue DAs, so maybe the states have to. Texas, I know, our beloved Texas, is contemplating efforts to punish these district attorneys who put their own left-wing politics ahead of the rule of law. Do you have any suggestions for how the states can defend themselves from these Soros-backed cancers?
Yeah, I think that's Chris, quite frankly, it's a very fair statement that I think it's more efficient for the states to go after these rogue district attorneys because they have preemption. And in Florida, you saw the governor fire one of the DAs that refused to enforce the law and refused to prosecute crimes. Unfortunately, in the liberal states, I don't think the governors have any problem with what somebody like Bragg is doing, in so much as 52% of the felonies he's reduced to misdemeanors, and yet he's trying to take something that was, even if it's true, a misdemeanor, and make it into a felony, which I don't even think it's true to begin with, and they need to be held accountable. It's difficult for the federal government because of the 10th Amendment, and you have to be a believer in the Constitution, but I definitely think at the state level this should be addressed.
I know former New York Governor Pataki, he had said that he would have fired Alvin Bragg in a heartbeat. He said you could easily do that. Lee Zeldin, who was also running for governor, he said he would have done that in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, she supports Alvin Bragg and the radical left all the way. So she could have done the whole country a service and gotten rid of this man who said from day one he wasn't going to prosecute criminals. And yet here he is creating this farce, sham type of investigation into the former president. Thank you so much, Representative Pat Fallon.
Thanks, Lydia.